Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Friday Live. This is the live that I do every Friday at 1:30 p.m. or thereabouts, Australian Eastern Standard Time, where I jump on here and answer any questions that you have about relationships, around life, around anything where you feel stuck or you'd like some help or insight on. This is your opportunity to do so. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Lukes. I am a relationship specialist. I've been working in this niche, this space in private practice now for about, I don't know, I lose track, around 13 years. And I help people all over the world, not just in their intimate relationships, but in any kind of relationship, because I truly, truly do believe that it's the quality of our relationships that determines the quality of our lives. And we just can't afford not to do them well. So I'm a really big believer in, and I'm very passionate about everybody having a really great handle on relationship skills, on doing relationships well, whether you're in a relationship or not. An intimate relationship or not. It's just being good at this stuff matters. It matters in the way you show up at work. It matters in how you get along with family. It obviously matters at home with your loved ones. It matters in the way you parent. It matters just in the way you show up. It matters in the way that you have an influence to get things done, to make magic happen. I mean, we are just so much more powerful than anybody truly understands. And so being great at relationships, in my mind, is an absolutely essential, fundamental life skill. And the great news is anybody can be good at them. Anybody. Okay. It's not about whether you're a good communicator. It doesn't matter what your personality type is. It's not dependent upon what's happened in the past. Honestly, this stuff that gets peddled out there is super, super complicated and really gets in the way of the truth. And the truth is, we are born, created to do relationships well. It's naturally pre-built in. It's just a lot of people don't know this, and we just tend to look in the wrong direction for the answer. So honestly, if you're a human being, and I'm guessing if you're watching this, you are, I want you to know that you are designed to do relationships really, really, really well. Okay. You're not deficient. You're not broken. You're not lacking. You're not missing something. There's nothing wrong with you. You've probably just not been given all the information that you need. Okay. And there are certain things that I teach that should be fundamental in the relationship space that other people don't. And I think that's the difference. But I promise you, I've not met someone, and I've come across all types of people from all walks of life with all sorts of stories about why they think they're not good at relationships, or whether they think there's a reason why they can't be in the future. And I can promise you, I've never come across someone where what I'm saying is not true. So in other words, I've never come across an exception to what I'm saying. Okay. So if you've just tuned in, hey Serena, nice for you to say hello, honey. Where have you? I was just about to say, for those of you who are listening, please feel free to say hi. It's always nice to know that I'm not speaking to a black void out there. And I'd love to know where you're from. I know there are people who tune in from lots of different places around the world. So where are you tuning in from, Serena? And I apologize if you've told me this in a previous live. I try and remember, but I can't remember. I can't keep on track of everyone. I get an idea of the people who generally jump in and comment and say hello. But if you're watching now, feel free to come in and say hi, and let me know where you're from. Shepparton. Okay, beautiful. Lovely part of the world. I think Ari, yes. Okay, I will check that. I haven't had a chance to check that, Ari. I will check your email. That's right. You did say you were going to send me a question. Shepparton, Ricky. Hey, Ricky. Sunshine Coast, beautiful part of the world. We are about to be Olivia. Hello. Hi, Olivia. Welcome. Thanks for saying hi. Let me know remind me of where you are again. We are about to be an hour ahead of you, Ricky. It's all about to change as we are going into daylight savings in Australia is going into daylight savings, although not all parts of Australia do this. The Queenslanders don't move their clocks forward, but the rest of us do. So Um, we are about to go into daylight savings, and I know for many of you, you guys who are listening from overseas, you're going the opposite. You're probably about to wind your clocks back, and because you're heading into fall or autumn, as we would call it. Southland, New Zealand. Oh, beautiful. Well, welcome, Olivia. Really lovely to have you here. I have lots of people from New Zealand doing my programs, clients who jump on here, so it's always nice to see you. Hey, Cameron. Hey, welcome to the live. I know where you are. Okay, everyone. So I'm going to check Ari's question. Anybody else, if you've got a question, something you want to ask me, feel free to post it in the comments below now, and I will do my absolute best to answer that for you. No question is too big or too small. Okay. Now, I can't see your question, Ari. That's strange. Let me just double check. Okay, could you resend that email for me, Ari? I can't see it here for some reason. It just hasn't come through to me. Okay, so going back to the live, or you can post it in the comment below if you would prefer, Ari. Okay, so if you've got a question, feel free to post it in the comments. One of the things that I did want to talk about today, which I think is very important, and I tend to, when I do these lives, reflect back on some of the things that have come up in my client work or in the live calls for my Relatable program. And so I have a program called Relatable. I know some of you know about it already. And I run live calls for that twice a week. And I've got students all over the world. So I reflect back on the live calls. So the last live call we had was Wednesday night. We had an incredible conversation on Wednesday night. But there was a theme that came out of that I thought I would bring to the live today. Ari, I've been through a difficult relationship, which I was constantly criticized, accused of things, and this treatment got worse when he didn't get what he wanted. And I had to give in or it made my life miserable. I'm so sorry to hear that, honey. Okay. I tried the goodwill approach and he just thought that was a way to push me more. When I said no, he got very angry and threatened it's over frequently and then started cheating in between the days he said it was over with other women. He admitted he did, and his excuse is we broke up. Okay. I'm really, Ari, I'm really sorry to hear that you've gone through that. I really am. I'm really sorry, honey. Do you have a question? What is your question about that? And I'll do my best to answer it. Why have you shared that with me? How can I help you with that? Whilst you're telling me that, Ari, and I'll come back to you. Anyone else who's just joined us and who wants to say hi, feel free to do so. I'd love to know where you are in the world and how I can be of service to assist you here. So Wednesday's relatable call was the reason I paid for this course. That, in a nutshell, is what people need to know about insecure thinking and particular people's frailties. For some reason, it hit home in the live call rather than any of the modules because it wasn't clear. I now understand my partner can't handle my frailties. All right, I'm going to come back to that, Kirsty. Ari, how can I cope with my heartbreak and knowing he is running me down to others? How can I use this goodwill principle now? What did I do wrong? Okay, great question, Ari. Here's the thing, honey. The most important thing, and it's interesting you've asked me this question because this very much tunes into what I was going to talk about today. And this is your relationship with you and how tuned in you are to you. See, if I'm in a relationship with someone where I feel miserable all the time and I've tried goodwill and nothing is changing, then there is something within me I'm not facing, right? There is something within me that I'm not dealing with. And, many people come into our lives in order for us to evolve and grow, right? They do. They come in as catalysts in our lives so that we can evolve and grow. For those of you who don't know me or know my story, one of the reasons why I do what I do is I fled a domestic violent relationship with two little boys 18 years ago. And I was so terrified at the time. I went into hiding for a little while. I was scared. I was absolutely beside myself. I lost sight of myself. I really did. I lost me. I was a shell. I was in survival mode. I kept saying to myself, I don't understand how I got here. How did I end up here? I'm a smart woman. I've been to uni. I'm educated. I don't understand. Now, what I now know, I wish I'd known then, but I learned a lot from that. And so, hi Tasha, nice of you to join in, honey. Let me know where you're from in the world. I'm always curious. But what I learned from that, Ari, and one of the reasons why I am coming back to your question is the big reason why I ended up in that situation, and it has been life-changing for me because I take it with me everywhere, is that I realized I was not tuned into my own wisdom. I was not listening. I was not tuned in. I had no sense of self. I was not grounded in myself, which is one of the things I was going to talk about today. Maitland in New South Wales. Okay, beautiful. Lovely part of the world, Tasha. Lovely. So I was not tuned into myself, Ari. See, when we are tuned out, and there are so many people I meet, so many people who are tuned out. So many. Okay. And another word of describing that would be asleep at the wheel. They're asleep at the wheel of their own lives. Okay. And they're tuned out because they're looking for validation out here. They need life or someone else to validate them. Okay. When you are doing that, please understand you are giving your power away. So, one of the things I'd be saying to you, Ari, is you are giving your power away. Now, you have to understand when you give your power away to someone will take it. They will. People will take it. If you give it away, they will take it. But people can't take something from you that you are not willing to give. Okay? So we give our power away when we are afraid of someone's reaction. We give our power away when we don't want to face something within ourselves that's not right for us. We give our power away when we compromise ourselves, when we compromise what matters. And that is absolutely what happened to me 18, 19 years ago, Ari. My world shrunk so much that my question of the day, and I'm not joking when I say this, my question of the day was, how can I not make him angry with me? I remember one day there was this moment where he used to get really angry with me because he had black shirts that he would wear to work, and if they faded in the sun, he would get like super like rageful. And I remember having his shirts hanging on an airer and chasing the shade all day so they wouldn't get in the sun. That was my life. Now, I created that for me. I'm not saying that's his fault. I did that because I was not tuned in. I wasn't listening. I kept giving my power away. I kept giving it and giving it and giving it away and hoping that he would be better instead of understanding my own power, tuning into my own wisdom, getting grounded and being sovereign in my own life. Okay? You cannot use goodwill if you're tuned out of yourself. That just becomes more of a, oh, I hope you don't get mad vibration. I hope you don't get upset with me frequency. And please say what I'm saying, Ari, I say with love and respect to you, honey. It is not in any other way other than this was me. This was what I was doing. I was trying so hard. I was walking on eggshells. That's not creating goodwill, right? That's just running with a fear strategy and giving your power to someone else. Now, when you do that, it never ends well. And so this is where you start to see that everything is a mirror of you. So my mirror was, and were reflected in me in that relationship at the time was, you are not willing to be sovereign, Fiona. You are not listening to wisdom because wisdom is warning you. Wisdom is giving you feedback and you are ignoring it. You're overriding your own wisdom. And so you're going to repeat and repeat and repeat until you listen, right? This is how it works, Ari. Okay. So the lesson here, honey, and I don't know enough about it, is for you to get your power back. Is for you to be true to you. It's for you to use your voice, and it's for you to honor who you are. And when you do that, people will listen. But when you don't honor who you are, people don't listen. They just make you wrong. They just attack you. They just take from you. And it looks like, right? And please don't hear this as fault or blame anybody. You have to understand the world is your mirror, and not in a mirror of blame. We tend to assume blame in a mirror so that you can evolve, right? So that you can evolve and you will see this reflected everywhere around you, right? You will. But when you have the humility to see what the mirror is telling you and the grace to listen, right? I'm going to repeat that because it's very important what I just said. When you have the humility to see what the mirror is telling you and the grace to listen, then you get to evolve. Okay? Then you get to evolve. But you're the only one who can choose evolve or repeat. That's your choice. No one can do it for you. You have to choose. So your relationship with you is so important. I can't even put it into words. Ari. So in many ways, if this man has walked out of your life, he's done you a favor, honey. And so my question to you is, what are you going to do with that? Right? What are you going to do with that so that you can evolve? See this as your opportunity to evolve. You have the power to do it. You really, really do. You just have to take that step and go, this is what I'm going to do for me. You know, I'm so tuned into my wisdom these days. Like, I am so tuned in. It's very easy for me to make decisions. I have a very clear mind. I know what's going on with me. I know what's right for me and not. I don't tend to operate from a place of fear. I have a very, very solid knowing that all is well, even if there's lots of uncertainty and life is kind of skew if everywhere out here. Like, there's a lot of chaos because I'm so grounded in myself. I'm so tuned in and I'm honoring me. And you know what? I go back and I'm thankful for that person because that's what I learned from that relationship, from that horror, from the horror of that. I had to go to an extreme. Not all of us need to, but this is what happens. So this is super, super important, Ari. This is your chance to evolve, get your power back, honor yourself, and transform the relationship with you, because this is what the mirror is telling you, right? This is what it's telling you. Okay. I hope that helps. Okay, Kirsty, all I'm going to say to you, honey, is first of all, it's not up to somebody else to handle your frailties. It's up to you. Okay. So if someone can't handle them, then the question to you is again, what are you going to do about that? Okay. What are you going to do about that? Because you're in charge of that, right? That's on you. So I'll just leave you to think about that one. Okay, Brian. Hey, Brian. Thanks for saying hi. And I'm going, skipping all the way. I love it, Brian. Good for you. That's so awesome. Brian is, yeah, Brian. Love you, Brian. Love you all. Anyway, love you all, everyone, including you, beautiful Kirsty Ray. Okay, so anyone else have a question they want to ask me? Does that make sense? So, whilst I'm waiting for questions to come through. Janine, hi Fiona, could you please talk a bit about triggers? You'd have to give me a little bit more information about that, Janine. What do you mean by triggers? What kind of triggers? If you could do that for me, that'd be great. Thanks, Janine. Okay, so it's very, very important. Those of you, if you've not heard one of my lives before, I've said this, and so I apologize if I'm repeating myself to those of you who've heard this before. But there are three elements to relationships. There is your relationship with you, your relationship with others. Your relationship with you, your relationship with the world, and your relationship with others. These three areas. Now, what is super, super important is it's these two that determine this one. So your relationship with you and your relationship with the world are the ones that determine the success of this one. Now, most programs approaches are just dealing with this. This alone isn't enough. You need to understand these two. These two have got to be in a good place. It's really, really important that you understand these two so that this one, right, gets handled. And so what I teach people is these two, and this one organically gets handled without lots of efforting, without lots of applying, without lots of fear, right? It's these two that determine this one. See, let's go back to Ari for a second. If she doesn't change this, her relationship with her, if she doesn't stand in her power, if she doesn't become grounded in herself, chances are Ari could go into another relationship and just repeat the same pattern. Okay? That's how we repeat patterns, is because we haven't evolved around our relationship with us. We haven't connected properly. We haven't tuned in. We haven't got a strong sense of self. This is so I can't tell you the most important thing. It really, really is. It's so important. This is the key to your level of well-being, joy, clarity of mind, conviction, your ability to be present, your ability to trust in the now, your ability to connect with others, your ability to get over yourself, your ability to deal with negative reactions, both yours and somebody else's. This is so important, and it's not hard, but you do have to have an understanding of how we work as human beings. That's how you do that. That's how you connect back to you. You have that understanding of how we work, and it becomes easy because you know when you're tuned in and when you're not. You know what to listen to and what to ignore. This is so fundamentally important, I can't explain it. And it is a very important part of what I teach to my private clients in my relatable program. This is the first module. Module 1, module 2. This is what I teach. Because as this becomes more solid and grounded, your frequency changes, your energy changes. You don't run an energy of fear, of, oh God, I hope nobody gets upset. You run an energy of solidness, of groundedness, of power, not disempowerment, but power, empowerment. And you know what? It feels amazing. Best feeling in the world. I cannot tell you, the best feeling in the world. I do not need anybody to validate me. I don't. I stopped needing that an awfully long time ago. Do you know what that does? That leaves an incredible amount of room in my head, right? Because when you need someone else to validate you, when you feel that you've got something to defend or prove or justify, and I can't tell you how many people are showing up in the world that way. And again, I don't say that as a form of criticism, just an observation, and it's not your fault if that's what you do. But you need to, right? You got to change that if you want to do relationships well, if you want to have well-being, peace of mind, calm, connection, the things that I know people are looking for. How do I know that? Because I have worked with thousands and thousands and thousands of people all over the world now, and everybody is looking for the same thing, right? So this is so important. It should be, in my opinion, on the list of goals for every human being on the planet. Because if everybody had that, could you imagine where we would be from a place of the level of awareness of humanity? There wouldn't be a need for people to attack one another because there would be nothing to defend, right? There wouldn't be a need for people to override others, to put people down, because there would be nothing for people to prove. There would be people making decisions that are right for them instead of stopping second guessing because they feel like they have to justify themselves. There would be people coming from a place of conviction, calm, and truth. And truth is the most beautiful place to live your life from, and the most beautiful place to be in relationship from. It really is. Okay? It truly is. It's like I say to a lot of people, the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I can't explain it to you now. And I use that knowing of myself, that level of groundedness, of knowing when I have clarity of mind and when I don't, of knowing what is my truth, knowing what belongs to me and what belongs to something else, knowing I do not have anything to defend, justify, or prove. I'm okay if people don't agree with me. I'm okay if people don't like what I have to say. It's all good. I don't need people to agree with me for me to be okay. I get that we all live in separate realities. I get that there are multiple ways of viewing things. I'm all good, right? Now, don't hear this as though I'm saying I'm better than you. That's not what I mean. It's just I have this level of calm and peace now that I never had. And, for those of you who know my story, I was a highly reactionary, stressed out, angry person for years and years and years until I found this. And I achieved this level of calm and groundedness in myself. I can't even explain it to you how good it feels. Best feeling in the world. And it has helped me in my business, the way I parent my children, dealing with blended families, in my marriage, with my sisters, with the way I get along with my parents. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on with the power of it. Okay. If you're looking for how to do that and have that sense of self, I teach this step by step in my program, Relatable. This is what I teach. And then I teach you how to have a greater relationship with the world. And then I teach you how to have a great relationship with others. The three things that matter, this is what I cover. And it's easy and simple, and it's a beautiful, amazing conversation. Okay. All right, I'm just going to check some of these comments. Kirsty, I totally get that. That wasn't what I was getting at. Sorry, honey, if I misunderstood you. I was simply saying thank you to explain how people manifest frailties. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad that that was helpful, Kirsty. I was hoping and hoping that you found that conversation helpful. I'm so glad. Thank you for giving me that feedback. That's so fantastic. Really fantastic. So I guess that's going to mean that Roz is still in Melbourne. I'm guessing. Tasha, hey, honey, that's my goal. Okay, beautiful. It is honestly, it's the best feeling in the world. Great goal to have. Really great goal to have. So, so, so important. Brian, I have to run. Do yourself a favor and do Relatable. Will change your life, I promise. Relatable changed my life from hell to somewhere I never believed in. The most amazing thing has just started, and it's just the start. This is a gift to yourself and everyone in your life. This is simple, it's easy, and it's a game changer. See yous. Thanks, Brian. Thanks so much. Oh, love it. Love it. Okay. So, anybody else have a question, comment that they want to share? Is what I'm saying making sense about being grounded in yourself, standing in your power, not feeling the need to validate, justify, or prove yourself? And, I think for a lot of people, there are a lot of people in the world doing that and they have no awareness that that's what they're doing. None. They feel like that they have to justify, validate, defend, prove themselves. So many people showing up in the world that way, and they just have no idea that's what they're doing. Now, the beautiful thing is when you start to see this, you start to see the mirror, right? Because the wonderful thing about life, it is the playground of the little human, right? And life is giving you feedback around where you need to evolve next, always. Always, always, always. It's uniquely giving you feedback around where you need to evolve next. And as you've heard me say many times now, okay, we've got two choices in life: evolve or repeat. So people repeat things because they're not evolving. Okay, it's not your fault, but just understand if you are in a pattern in your life or a relationship where the same thing is happening again and again and again, that's just the universe giving you feedback. It's time to evolve. Okay. It's not about the other person evolving. This is about you evolving, all right? And then seeing where the relationship goes from there. It's super, super important. And evolving is the best feeling in the world. It really is. It's amazing. When you start to get a sense of your power, when you start to get a sense of just how extraordinary you are and your ability to create change and influence, what you have the power to do, all those limits that you've been buying into, you start to see through the illusion of. You don't need to get rid of them, you just need to see through them because they're actually very translucent. And when that starts to happen, oh my goodness, truly, truly incredible what's possible. Janine, I found I get triggered by various things. My partner feels it and wants to know what it's about. Sometimes I share it and he gets really defensive and it can lead to a blow up and him leaving. I've tried letting him know it's about me, not him, but I feel it triggers his fear. I'm doubting us. I've recognized what's at the basis of my triggers and working through them. But when he detects me having one, it can literally be my breathing change. It can be explosive and breaks our trust and bond. Well, first of all, what I would say to you, Janine, is if it's that sensitive between you and him, then goodwill between you is very low. Okay, it is. It's very, very low. When goodwill is high, we have a lot more bandwidth, patience, compassion, and understanding to deal with things when our partner's frailties come out. So goodwill is very low between you two, and so what you need to be focusing on is rebuilding and creating goodwill before you start dealing with your triggers. Okay, because without goodwill, there's no richness to draw from in order to move forward. Goodwill is the most important thing, and people overlook it, they misunderstand it, and they don't understand how to build it. You don't build goodwill by dealing with your problems, by the way. Okay, that's how you erode them. You deal with you build goodwill, right, by understanding the flavor that you're bringing, the space you are coming from, and ensuring that you have nothing to justify, defend, or prove. You come from that space, goodwill becomes easy, like simple, beautiful, magical, organic. But I'm going to say to you right now, the reason that this is so sensitive, and it's just there's not enough goodwill there. That's the first thing that you need to change in that relationship, um, so that your partner feels safe when you get triggered, and you feel safe when he does. Now, the second thing that happens when you build goodwill, right? The second thing that needs to happen is you need to develop a history of dealing with conflict well. All right, this is super important. So I'm going to guess from what you're saying that you guys don't have that. Conflict is scary for both of you. Conflict is painful. Conflict is something that frightens you in a number of different ways. And so there is no history of dealing with conflict well. So when conflict happens, sensitivity is heightened like disproportionately, and so people's frailties come out, and they go into shutdown mode or control mode. I mean, shutdown mode's control anyway, but they're either kind of projecting it out or they're shutting down. So until you're doing those things, what is or isn't you're getting triggered by is secondary to dealing with those two things first. And those are the things that I would be concentrating on. Okay. So, I know when goodwill is low, and for most people, goodwill is, one of the reasons people come and see me is because goodwill is really, really low and they think they have a communication issue. No, you have a goodwill issue. People communicate really well when goodwill is high. Okay. But if you start working on communication and you haven't built goodwill, forget about it. Won't work. Won't work. It'll feel like one step forward, 10 step backwards. It'll feel like Groundhog Day. It'll feel like you don't really care. People will make that mean all sorts of stuff, and that just even destroys goodwill even more. Okay, so people don't have a communication issue, they have a goodwill issue. Okay, this is very, very, very important. And one of the reasons why a lot of counseling doesn't work, because counselors focus on communication and problems. And it's like, no, no, no. You can't deal with a problem if you haven't got goodwill. You can't. In fact, it's actually detrimental, because you don't have the emotional capacity, you don't have the emotional intelligence to deal with anything. Dealing with problems requires a level of emotional intelligence. Now, when there's no goodwill, you have two people with no emotional intelligence in a relationship with each other. How on earth are they supposed to deal with a problem? Can't, don't have it. It's not their fault, but they just don't have access to the emotional intelligence that they need. When there's goodwill, when goodwill is high, emotional intelligence is high. And when emotional intelligence is high, people are more playful, they're lighthearted, they laugh their way through things, they lighten up, they take things less seriously, they stop projecting onto others, they lower their expectations. I could go on and on and on with the benefits of that. Okay, so that's the absolute thing that you need to focus on. Again, I teach all of this in Relatable, building goodwill, understanding all of that, all of it. So this stuff becomes super, super, super easy. Okay. Tasha, I'm just going to just have a check in on comments. Let me know if this is helpful, guys, if this is making sense to you. I'd love some feedback on what I'm saying. Tasha, makes so much sense. I'm aware of my need to grow my relationship with me before in relationships to the world. I'm aware of my need to grow my relationship with me before in relationships to the world is new to me. Could you briefly explain that, Fiona? Sorry, Tasha, can you just reword that? I'm not sure what you're asking me. To the world is new to me. Could you briefly, what is it that you want me to explain, honey? If you could just clarify that, that'd be great. Yes, conflict 95% ends relationship. I don't know whether to reconcile. I've tried so much to build goodwill, but something pops up and destroys it. Thank you. The only thing that destroys goodwill, right? The only thing that destroys goodwill is when you don't understand what's going on in a moment. Goodwill's super easy to maintain with anybody, really. I mean, yeah, there are people out there that are deliberately controlling, manipulative, and unkind, etc. Right? But I'm talking generally. Goodwill is generally really easy to build, but it absolutely the biggest thing, and this is people's biggest blind spot. Okay, is when people don't understand the flavor that they are bringing. See, we are energetic beings, and it's our energy that enters the room before we do. All right, this is very, very important. And people do not know the flavor that they bring. And I think I could say this safely. People find it a bit triggering, but I could say this 100% of the time. People come to me and they do not know the flavor that they're bringing. Got no idea. It's their biggest blind spot. They'll say to me, "Oh, I think I'm this," and then we'll start doing some work together. I'll teach them this understanding, and they will be shocked at the flavor that they're bringing that they had no idea of. That is affecting the other person. Okay. So there's a flavor that you're bringing, Janine, that you can't see. I will say that, honey. I know you might think that you don't, but I promise you, you are. And that's having an impact on how he hears and responds to you. Promise you. Tasha, sorry, I was typing too fast. Haha, I'm not familiar with my relationship to the world as a concept. Okay, cool. So in life, there is our relationship with life is really important. So people who, and to give you an example of this, um, people who have a poor relationship with life don't trust that things will work out. Okay, they don't have that baseline as trust that things will work out. They have this sense of, I've got to figure it out. It's up to me. I'm on my own. I've got to work it out. And they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. Okay. So people who have a poor relationship with life, that's how they show up to life. And so they have very little bandwidth for when life kind of hits. And as I say to people, life is a contact sport, right? There are very little bandwidth to what happens when life hits. And so because of that, when life does hit, they go down instead of having a sense of groundedness, a sense of calm, a sense of knowing. It's a sense of knowing that all is well, a trust in something bigger than them. And again, this is something I go to a lot of trouble to explain and teach and relatable because it's very, very, very important. Okay. So when you don't have a great relationship with life, people tend to shut down and they tend to go into themselves. And what happens is when they do that, they're not connecting. They start overthinking and ruminating around everything. Their head goes a million miles an hour. And so when that happens, they struggle to see the good stuff. They just start to see what's missing, what's the lack in everything. They struggle to live in a feeling of appreciation and gratitude and potential and possibility. They don't have a lot of hope and faith in life. And so when you don't have that, your world shrinks. You tend to become quite controlling. You can't deal with life when it doesn't go your way, and you tend to operate with a lot of fear, and there's a lot of heaviness in your energy. Okay, so imagine being in relationship with that. That's not easy, right? And that's often a flavor that people bring. Okay, it's often a flavor that people bring, right? So I hope that helps, Tasha. It really does. Yes, your vibration goes very low. Now it's your frequency. All right, your energetic frequency that has a huge impact on the people around you. And the highest frequency in life is love. Yes, that's the highest frequency. It's the lightest frequency. Fear, sadness, worry, anger, that's the heaviest frequency. The lightest frequency is love. Now, a lot of people have no concept of where they're vibrating, right? Their normal is quite low. And so they don't even know what it feels like to be at a higher frequency. And they don't know that they're bringing that. They don't even know when they're bringing that. They think that they're neutral when they're not. I see this all the time, all the time. I had a lady that I started working with just recently who's in a relationship with someone who's quite reactionary. And she came to see me because she wanted to deal with her partner's reactions with a lot more calm. And one of the first things she said to me was, You know, Fiona, it's so funny. I've always said to myself, I'm the calm one. I'm the good one because I'm really, I don't get upset by much. But she said, oh my God, I am seeing the flavor that I've been bringing. No wonder he is so reactionary. She was shocked that she'd not seen it. And she'd done a lot of personal development work. She'd, yoga, meditation, all of this stuff. She had no idea. And as she has changed that, the difference in him has been unbelievable, like overnight different. That's how powerful you are. But this is how much of a biggest blind spot it is for people. I just have no idea. When you develop a tolerance for being in a certain feeling, you don't even notice where you are. And so I think the wonderful thing about the understanding that I teach, because I teach you how to navigate your thinking, how to navigate your reality, how to know where you are. People don't know where to look, right? They're too busy looking out here. Yes, things land differently when we're ready. Absolutely, Tasha. Absolutely. And that's a thing, when we look for the answer, we'll find it. We will. Cecily, hello, Cecily. Welcome to the call. Hi, Fiona. This all makes sense. And hearing you talk about energy that we come with has opened my eyes so much more and has changed all of my relationship with life. Every time I listen to you on these live calls or relatable calls, always something new. My life has totally changed. Thank you so much, sweet Fiona. Oh, Cecily, thank you, honey. That's beautiful. I so appreciate those kind words. Thank you, darling. Lots of love to you, beautiful. Oh, get me. I see. I'm starting the waterworks. I'm about you. Seriously, guys, this happened to me on Relatable. Um, on Wednesday night, this beautiful man came in and shared something, and boom, off I went. Waterworks, about how his life had changed on the call, and that was it. Oh boy, you've almost got me there, Cecilia. I'm trying. You see, my eyes have just gone red. Whew. Okay, love you guys. You're so beautiful. Maz, hi, Maz. Welcome to the live, honey. Thanks for dropping in and saying hi. Thank you so much. That's just so lovely. Okay, so if anybody has a question that they would like me to answer, I'm jumping off pretty soon because I've got clients waiting for me. But if there is a question that you would like me to answer, let me know and I will do my absolute best. And yes, Tasha, raw emotion is so beautiful. Absolutely. And I love it. I see, the beautiful thing is I have no fear of feeling all the feels. No fear. It's the most beautiful feeling in the world. Now, a few of you have messaged me wanting the link to my program Relatable. Here it is. You can go in and check it out and find out for yourself what's involved. And hey, Graham, nice to see you on the call. I was chatting to a friend of yours the other day, Justin. Lovely man. Olivia, biggest blind spot ever. I was not aware of my energy or flavor I was bringing. Thank you so much, Fiona, for your Friday lives. My absolute pleasure, honey. I'm so glad to hear that you are finding them so helpful. And to those of you who are tuned in, I appreciate you jumping in and sharing this time with me every Friday. And I hope that what I'm doing is bringing something that makes life a little bit easier for you. If you would like to know more about Relatable and the program, I have students all over the world who literally say to me, this is the best thing I've ever done. So if you want to know what I'm saying at a deeper level, if you want to show up in your lives where you are really great at relationships, where you know what you're doing, no matter what's coming at you, this is what I teach you. It gives you an unbelievable sense of freedom and an unbelievable sense of peace. Okay, so hey, yeah, he did. It's awesome. My pleasure, Tasha. Enjoy. I'm so glad that you were able to join me for the live. No worries, Janine. My pleasure, honey. Love the fact that you guys are chatting to each other. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Maz. Do it, guys. Changed my life for the better in so many ways. Yeah, love it. Honestly, guys, we are family and relatable. It's the relatable family. What we talk about on the calls, the Facebook community, what I teach you, you will absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's simple and easy and just the greatest gift you could possibly give yourself. Why? Because it's the greatest gift greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Anyway, everyone, if you've got a question, send it to hello@fionalukis.com.au and I will answer them next Friday on my live. Thanks all for watching, everybody. Thanks, Maz. Take care, everyone. Ciao.